Back with us again today is Dr. Stephanie Rubino. For those just joining us today, Dr. Rubino has practiced naturopathic medicine for 17 years in Ontario. Her focus is on women's health, pediatrics, and digestive health. She also works with many media outlets to educate the public about safe and effective use of complementary medicine. Dr. Rubino is here with us to discuss the importance of social support. So thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Rubino.
It's great to be back. Thanks, Jonathan. Welcome to this session, Buddy Up, the Importance of Social Support. I'm Dr. Stephanie Rubino, naturopathic doctor, and thank you for joining this discussion on the importance of social connections and support. Without a doubt, we need one another. Connection between humans is at the heart of our personal health and community. Social support is a significant foundation of great health because a sense of belonging and knowledge that others are present for us and care for us is crucial for our development, health, and survival. During our time together today, we will answer some important questions, such as, what is the difference between social isolation and loneliness? And do these concerns impact our health? Are we currently facing a loneliness epidemic? Who can we socially connect to? And what are the health benefits of this social support? Finally, can connecting to nature impact social isolation and loneliness? Let's begin with our first questions. What is the difference between social isolation and loneliness? And how do these concerns impact our overall health? Social isolation versus loneliness. What's the difference? When we talk about social isolation and loneliness, you might think these concerns are the same. Although they are not the same, they are connected. Social isolation has been described as an objective state in which an individual lacks a sense of belonging socially, lacks engagement with others, and has a minimal number of social contacts. On the other hand, loneliness is a subjective feeling dependent on the satisfaction that we experience with our interpersonal connections. Think of it like this. If we are in a crowded room with others, we are not isolated. However, we could still feel lonely. People can be socially isolated without feeling lonely, or feel lonely despite having an adequate number of social relationships. Do loneliness and social isolation impact our physical and mental health? Without a doubt, these concerns can negatively impact an individual's physical, mental, and emotional health. Let's take a look at some research that has been completed on this topic. Chronic social isolation has been shown to increase the risks of morbidity and mortality, similar to other factors, including high blood pressure, smoking, and obesity. In one meta-analysis of 148 studies, the odds of mortality due to social isolation and loneliness were similar to light smoking, equivalent to 15 cigarettes per day, and alcohol consumption, equivalent to 6 drinks per day, and in fact exceeded the risks conferred by physical inactivity and obesity. The Health and Retirement Study assessed over 12,000 adults and found loneliness was associated with a 40% increased risk of dementia. Researchers concluded loneliness is one modifiable factor that can be intervened on to reduce dementia risk. In addition, a large American Cancer Society study analyzed data from more than 580,000 adults, linking social isolation with a higher risk of death from all causes combined and heart disease for all races studied, and with increased cancer mortality in white men and women. Research supports the fact that social isolation and loneliness are influencers over our health. In addition to the studies discussed, social isolation and loneliness have been shown to impact multiple conditions such as heart disease, hypertension and stroke, obesity, diabetes, pulmonary disease, metabolic disorders, depression and anxiety, and the progression of Alzheimer's disease. Why does loneliness have this impact on health? Various mechanisms have been investigated, including increased activity of stress hormones, increased HPA activity, increased systemic inflammation, increased vascular resistance, impaired immune activity, an impact on brain function and structure, and much more. Is there a loneliness epidemic? Despite being more connected through easy and fast ways of communication, as well as through social media platforms, research is finding that loneliness is a prevalent and global concern. It has been described as a public health problem since it is a critical determinant of health. In industrialized countries, loneliness affects around 1/3 of individuals, with 1 person in 12 affected severely, and the numbers are increasing. A wide-ranging study from the nonprofit Angus Reid Institute explored the quality and quantity of human connection in the lives of Canadians today. It revealed significant segments of society are in need of the emotional, social, and material benefits that social connectedness can bring. This study helped to create a detailed portrait of social isolation and loneliness in Canada and sorted Canadians into 5 groups. Individuals who are both lonely and isolated represent 23% of the total population. Individuals who are lonely but not isolated represent 10% of the total population. Individuals who are isolated but not lonely represent 15% of the total population. Individuals that are neither very lonely nor very isolated represent 31% of the total population and occupy a middle ground in this spectrum. And finally, individuals that are neither lonely nor isolated represent 22% of the total population. Similar findings are evident around the world. For example, a 2018 survey of 20,000 American adults 18 years and older found most Americans are considered lonely, with possible loneliness scores ranging from 20 to 80. The total average national loneliness score in America is reaching 44. The survey also found that 46% of those surveyed reported sometimes or always feeling alone, and 47% felt left out. Among many other findings, it was also discovered that adults aged 18 to 22 and adults aged 23 to 37 are lonelier and claim to be in worse health than older generations. Social media use alone is not a predictor of loneliness. Students have higher loneliness scores than retirees, and those who have daily interactions have the lowest loneliness scores. So we can't deny it. Many of us are feeling isolated and lonely, and we need to connect with others through physical, behavioral, cognitive, and emotional channels. Strong social relationships can increase the likelihood of our survival by as much as 50% relative to individuals whose relationships are weaker. Who can we socially connect to? Here we can see that members of our social connections can include family, friends, colleagues, neighbors, community members, and professionals such as doctors and therapists. Each connection will provide different support at different times in our lives. Positive social connection and support is health promoting because it can facilitate healthier behaviors such as exercise, eating right, and not smoking, while encouraging a greater adherence to medical routines. Feeling supported also means we can cope better with life's obstacles, regulate our emotions, and have higher self-esteem and empathy. Other benefits of social support and connections include lower anxiety and depression, improved immune function, lower rates of morbidity and mortality, decreased levels of inflammation, improved sleep, and lower stress levels. Social connections can nurture our life by providing different types of support, including informational support, instrumental support, emotional support, appraisal support, and new perspectives. Informational support includes knowledgeable advice, suggestions, and information. For example, this may include advice on how to apply for a new job, a restaurant to visit, or guidance on where to take your kids for an activity. Instrumental support includes practical aid and service. For example, getting support when you need help with everyday life, such as meal preparation or childcare. Sometimes, even small tasks or chores can feel overwhelming, and practical help can make a big difference. Emotional support includes empathy, love, trust, and caring, which help to reduce feelings of isolation. Emotional support is provided when you can contact someone to talk about a problem and share your thoughts and feelings. Appraisal support includes affirmation and feedback that is useful for self-evaluation. When a friend provides positive praises regarding your abilities, it helps to increase your confidence to deal with a situation. Finally, new perspectives highlights the new ideas and great insights that others may offer and that you might not have previously considered for a particular situation. When you are open to listening to a new perspective, you can consider alternative solutions to problems or concerns. Connections with others can provide much needed encouragement. So, how can we positively nurture our relationships with others? First off, how can we support our existing social connections? One of the first important steps is to identify who is part of your social support network and assess how satisfied you feel in these relationships. Do you feel cared for, understood, secure, informed? If yes, then these are relationships that should be further supported in your life. Once you identify who supports you, it's important to care for these important and mutual relationships. When you need help or advice, reach out and connect with others. But remember that others may also need assistance at times. We need to contribute to our relationships and be willing to offer others support in their time of need. It's also important to practice being clear in your communications with others. Sometimes this isn't always easy, but when we are clear about the support that we need, it helps to prevent and resolve any misunderstandings. Make sure you get the help that you need in the right places. Seek specialized support, such as from a counselor or other professional if you feel it is needed. Don't forget that sometimes people and circumstances change, and we may need to let go of relationships that are not healthy for us. This may be very difficult, but it's often best to let go and seek relationships that are new and healthier. We can honor our existing relationships and take steps to establish new social connections to further enrich our lives. How can you do this? You can create opportunities to meet new people by becoming a volunteer, beginning a new hobby, or taking a class. If you are experiencing a specific issue, joining a support group or reaching out for one-on-one support can help you get the guidance you need, and it may even connect you with others who are going through a similar experience. Joining online groups or connecting with others through social media groups are other ways to make new connections. However, use good judgment and be mindful that these influences are safe and helpful for you. Connecting with others and asking for help takes courage and strength. It also often requires time and patience, so don't give up. When we address concerns of loneliness and social isolation, deepening our connections with others is not our only option. It's also important to establish our connection with nature. American architect Frank Lloyd Wright once said, "Study nature, love nature, stay close to nature. It will never fail you." And he was right. Staying close to nature has been shown to improve physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. Nature also plays a significant role in the way we think, feel, and behave with others. Research has shown that those who have a higher connectivity with nature and spend more time outdoors are more environmentally responsible, concerned, and happier in their interpersonal relationships. In addition, a strong connection to our natural environment enhances emotional well-being and alleviates feelings of social isolation. We can make stronger connections to nature and ultimately others by walking outdoors, whether it's on your street, in a park, or through a forest, planting a garden, photographing nature, having a picnic outside, napping on the grass, working outside, watching wildlife, and if getting outside is not possible, then bring nature inside with plants and flowers, furniture made with natural materials, and exposure to natural light. Humans need social connections for survival. Social isolation and loneliness have been linked to higher risks for a variety of physical and mental conditions, such as high blood pressure, heart disease, obesity, a weakened immune system, anxiety, depression, cognitive decline, and Alzheimer's disease. We can take steps today to foster existing relationships, make new connections, and connect with nature to alleviate feelings of social isolation. Remember, you are not alone. You can become closer to greater health by connecting with others and connecting with the earth.